Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I realized that I haven't made a video where we take a look at macroeconomic factors that are influencing the trucking industry in a while. So I think it's time to take a peek at what is happening in the general economy. Since trucking is being an extremely naughty child at the moment and is simply not cooperating, I want to take a look at what is actually causing this. Ready? Let's go! So we all know that volumes are above 2023 levels as we see week over week, but they're not high enough to actually make the rates go up. So what affects volume? Well, a lot of things, but at the center of most of them is actually consumer demand. So first, let's take a look at consumer confidence. How are people in the US actually feeling? Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the University of Michigan's Consumer Confidence Survey slipped backward slightly to 76.5 in mid-March from 76.9 last month, dragged downward by a more negative outlook for the coming months. The reading was worse than the slight uptick expected by economists, according to a poll carried out by the Wall Street Journal. It's not really surprising that the consumer outlook and consumer confidence is down because the economy is down in the dumps. I do come across a lot of articles saying that inflation is stable or it's going down, but the reality is, well, the reality. And what do I see in my everyday life is that the consumer price index has increased. For example, a month ago, I bought the cheapest carton of eggs, a dozen eggs I could find, and it was $3.49 for that carton before taxes. Right now, that same carton, the cheapest one in the market right now where I live, is $4.29. And this is all backed up by data. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prices rose by 0.4% for consumers. And if consumers are spending more on the necessities, that means they have less in their pocket to spend on other things, which means that trucks don't have as much volume to transport. Now, what about this soft landing that we hear over and over and over again from politicians, from the media? And what about this crazy GDP growth that the media is pushing our way? Well, just a few days ago, Business Insider released an article where Joe Lavorgna, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, he's the chief economist of CNBC Nikko Securities, he's sounding an alarm. And he says, I quote, "The odds of the economy tipping into a recession are very high as the US is poised to see a wave of unemployment and major drop in consumer spending." Lavorgna also predicts that the labor market will weaken, especially within the residential real estate market, where he estimates the construction sector is overemployed by about 1 million workers. The impact of construction layoffs alone could push the overall unemployment rate up by 60 to 70 basis points, he predicted. Now he says, and I quote, "If rates don't come down very dramatically, very quickly, my guess is that we're going to lose a significant amount of construction employment. Is it possible the Fed cuts rates very dramatically? Yes, but that's only going to happen, or most likely going to happen, if there is a recession." Now, of course, all of these economic factors have a huge influence on the trucking industry and the rates we see both on the contract market as well as the spot market. But there are also internal factors within the industry that can swing the pendulum. For example, capacity. Now, as of Friday, just 2 days ago, we again saw an increase in net carrier population by 137 carriers this time. Yes, of course, we have this new Department of Labor rule that went into effect on March 11th that has some sort of influence on the amount of MCs that are being open. But as I mentioned last week with trucking jobs, even though we have been seeing decreases, as of February, we lost about 300 trucking jobs, which shows more or less stability. So basically, jobs are stable, but capacity is increasing. This is definitely not the best combination in a market like we see today. Now, those of you who have been with me for a while know that I cannot live peacefully where everything is negative. So I always try to find something positive, a sliver of hope. So what is my hope this time? Well, number one, it's the fact that the Federal Reserve is projected to start cutting rates in June of 2024, which was moved up from May of 2024. Is it guaranteed? No, but at least they're talking about it. Another sliver of hope is, of course, the fact that the weather is starting to get a little bit more manageable and produce season is not right around the corner, but we're pretty close to that time of year, which usually drives up volumes and affects volumes for flatbeds, reefers, and dry vans, and kind of swings the pendulum a little bit more towards the carrier side. The third thing, and I understand that this is going to sound pretty bad, but the net increase in capacity that we have seen doesn't really guarantee a net increase in dispatchable trucks in the current environment. We all know how brokers will use any excuse under the sun not to sell a load to a carrier because they think they can find someone cheaper, and they often do. And one of those excuses is your MC is too new. So the question right now is not how many trucks are physically on the road, but how many trucks are actually able to haul the loads presented on the load board, in the contract market, etc. Anyway, guys, I know that right now is absolutely unbearable. I personally try not to put an accent on how much I am struggling because I don't want to bring others down. But the reality is we're all in the same boat, struggling and battling with the thought of why in the world do I need this? And still, despite how I'm feeling personally right now, I say hang in there. Regardless of the situation, I know that nothing lasts forever. We will all get through this. And the last thing I want to do is I want to share what my grandmother told me, not fully knowing what the situation is with the trucking market. She said that the moment of greatest pride and happiness comes right after we survive the toughest challenges without giving up. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.